Welcome to the Restoration Place, and I'm your host, Lady B, and I'm excited about today's show. We have a very important guest. I mean, her story is awesome. I've read it, and was just really blown away by it, and so I know that it will bless you guys, and I'm excited to get right into it. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are, and just get right into your story.
Hi, thank you. Okay, so my name is Harriet Barnsley. I am 29 years old and I live in Birmingham in the UK. My story kind of really started in 2014 when I was 21 years old. I came home from completing my degree at university, met my oldest friend, and we were going to a hen party. I don't know if you guys, because a few people don't know what that is in America. Um,
Can you explain it to us?
the hen party is the party that all the women go to before a wedding. So
Okay.
it's the
Like a bridal shower.
yeah, that's it. Goodbye to your single life shower. Yeah. So we came home for a really important evening. We went to our local bus stop and it's and then I woke up like a month later from a month-long coma to learn what had happened. I learned that we were standing in the bus stop and we were hit by a car at 101 miles an hour. Now, do you guys do it in kilometers or
We do MPH,
in? I'll translate it. So what is it? What was that?
miles per hour.
Mile, you do miles per hour?
Hmm.
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, it hit by a car at 101 miles an hour in a 40-mile-an-hour zone.
Oh, wow.
Well, there's the statistic that always just like that throws me that if you get hit by a car at 40 miles an hour, there is a 90% chance that you'll die. And I
Hmm.
got hit by a car as a pedestrian at 60 miles an hour, more than that, 100 miles an hour, and survived. So
Wow.
I woke from a coma to learn that my best friend had been killed standing next to me. We were close since the age of 5 to 21. She was the most important person in my life outside my family, and that I would need a wheelchair for life. 5 years of surgeries and physical recovery and rehabilitation and hydrotherapy,
Hmm.
and I'd got kind of through the milestones of like being able to learn to walk and to talk again, and then my brain started giving up because I was able to let myself like feel all the pain that I kind of ignored at the start. 'Cause I just needed to learn how to bend my fingers again. I needed to learn how to like scratch my nose or everything from scratch, and then I did that, and then my mind started slipping, and I'd kept telling myself for years that no one survives that, like, and people were just like, "That's impossible. How did that happen? How did you survive?" And then a nurse had said to me at the start when I woke out of my coma, she was like, "What if none of she said, "What if none of this is real and it's all in your head?"
Hmm.
And then 5 years later, I was like, that's what it is. It's true. I must be dead. I must be living in a hell. There's so much pain in the world, so much suffering. That's all I can see, all I can feel. I stopped sleeping and kind of felt detached from reality. Developed psychosis and got put in hospital, which ended up kind of freeing me because I was able to just like let go and like surrender and kind of just like. And then I've had like a lot of mental health recovery since then, and like been diagnosed with organic bipolar from the brain injury, and found out that I can get ill from being too happy as well as too sad, and it's been quite a whirlwind. And now I'm doing exceptionally well, and I kind of want to share it. I want to help inspire other people to cope with the horrible things that they're going through.
Yeah, because when I was reading your story, I found it very interesting when you got to the place where and you just spoke briefly on it, where you got to a place where you thought that perhaps this was you were not this was a nightmare, or this wasn't real. And then I read where I think you were sitting in your car and you were waiting on uh, for the car accident to happen again. Um, And I found that very, very interesting because it's something how the brain works. Trauma does so much to the brain, and we don't necessarily understand that the effects of it can be very, very devastating. Can you walk us through that actual day?
The actual day of psychosis and the car, or
Mhm,
yeah, it was because when I first spoke about the coma, I didn't think that the world was real. I thought everyone was acting, and there were staff and nurses and people with clipboards, and I didn't think I just thought it was a joke. I was like, I have no idea why I should be here. What on earth's happened? I couldn't remember how old I was. I thought I was 17 years old, and then that kind of planted the seed of doubt anyway. And then eventually I turned to my mom, who's now by my bedside, and I realised it was real. But there's quite a fine line between whether you believe that you're in the real world or whether you're in something that's kind of been created. So
mhm,
5 years later, I was in my car and I was driving to marry someone that I didn't really know. It's a thing in psychosis. I thought that I was going to have this beautiful life and marry this person that I didn't know at all, and I didn't know where they lived. I couldn't find them, thank God, but also believed at the same time. So it's the double-edged sword of psychosis. I thought it was wonderful, and I also thought I was in hell and had to die, and it was like a clash of those things.
mhm,
Ran out of petrol, so ran out of gas in the middle of the motorway, in the middle of a lane, and
mhm,
waited for a car to go in the back of me and kill me. A car went into the back of me, but managed to slow down in time, just dented it slightly. And then people started knocking on my window, like trying to get me out. And I didn't think they were real. I thought they were all actors. And then eventually the police pulled me out of my car and put me in a jail cell overnight while they were looking for a hospital bed. And then I then lived in this horrendous nightmare of psychosis where I kept my eyes shut, and I got like all sorts of abuse and all these horrible things. I'd done like horrible things to lots of people and then got the treatment done to me. And it's crazy the things that your mind can do, especially because, the idea of hell, we have like this little picture in our head of what it might be like, that it's underground and it's dark and there's all these bodies squirming around in pain. And I felt like I was in that.
mhm,
When I woke up out the coma the first time, I thought I could see what heaven had been like, and I believed that. I don't know how much of it is where my mind was, and how much was it is it what we're fed heaven should be like and hell should be like. I feel it's quite.
mhm.
And then I got put in a hospital and put on a medication that actually addressed my mood disorder, like
Mhm.
antipsychotic, rather than antidepressants. If you have an antidepressant with a mood disorder or bipolar, it can make it worse, which they
Mhm.
didn't know they don't know until it's gone worse. Kind of a lot
Yeah.
of trial and error with medications, and yeah, and then the relief that I wasn't living in hell, and the relief that I didn't have to die, and all the relief has just been the most freeing thing in the world.
Yeah, yeah. And so when you were in the facility, I know you were saying that you had met some extraordinary people. How did they help you along on your journey? I think that's good because some people have a stigma about going into mental health facilities and believing that, that is one of the worst places to go, and I don't want to go there because and they avoid it. But I do think that um they can
There
be
are
wonderful.
cases when they need it.
Mhm.
Yeah, like, no, like, I knew that I needed it. I knew that I couldn't look after myself. I couldn't, like, barely do anything, let alone make meals for myself, clean my bedroom. They did it all for me, and, like, yeah, there was a weird divide of, like, the first time round, I wasn't really sure. It felt a little bit like prison. It felt like with lots of mental health problems and people just, like, we're all being a little bit, like, kind of, well, not punished, but we were all being told to change, and it just felt quite negative. But and then a year later, I got ill again from being too excited about life, and actually planning to get married to my partner and all these things.
Mhm.
And that hospital particularly was really helpful because I'd I'd done the worst of it all. I'd done the worst thing before. I'd struggled with it, and I'd adjusted to what life was like in hospital when you're forced to stay. This time I kind of could see the benefits and made lots of they were wonderful friends that I just, like, we all support each other. Like, I had one friend that I think she was from China, and her name was Yi, and she was absolutely beautiful. She was like, but she was about 40 years old, and she was like quite a lot older than me. And like we'd just meet each day and just say I love you, and just hug each other and just like support each other. And the staff would say, no, you're not allowed to like touch her or anything. It's fine. But like she knew the rules and she knew how to do it, and she kind of like just had these beautiful things that she dressed in like these gorgeous clothes, and they were kind of like her armor. And it's just watching how other people kind of dealt with the madness in their minds was really kind of beautiful.
Mhm, mhm. And it's probably for them, it's probably just freeing to just be. Whether it looks like madness to other people, it's probably just freeing to be. I believe that sometimes that we could be living in such a way, or we can go through trauma, that there comes a point of, and I know they have a name, psychosis, or a mental break, where it's just okay. Now, as you described it in your bio, where it's almost like a pressure cooker, but then when the pressure comes off and you are, it's like, I can just be. I can finally just be, even though it's not what society deems as normal. I can just be, because this is now my new normal.
Hmm.
Does
It
that
was
make
yeah, it was a massive release. It was like just being able to just surrender and just like everyone wears their pain on their sleeves in hospital, and no one was hiding it, and it was just not really like it was almost encouraged to just let yourself like what to feel whatever it is that's going on, no matter whether it's real or not. No one would challenge it. No one would say, "Oh, yeah," because I told people and stuff in the real world, and they kind of just argued with me and told me I was wrong. And arguing with a mad person, like but arguing with a mentally ill person, is just going to make them go into more of a defense, isn't it? So I don't think that's healthy. You have to,
sense?
no matter what it is, you've got to kind of, if someone tells you they've seen a talking lion, you've got to kind of be like, okay, how, like, let's talk about it. You can't say that's not possible, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nice. I've just as I've and as since that's happened, like I'm now trained to be a counsellor, and I'm trying to be there for more people. And it's just there doesn't seem to be people. I don't know how to say it. So people tend to kind of shy away from people's trauma. Like if you tell, I don't know, I met my boyfriend in the pub, and lots of people would say things, and they would just be like so uncomfortable able to like, talk in response. And it would make you like it was important for me not to focus on people that couldn't handle you how your world is. But people don't want to really absorb everyone else's pain. I feel like we all need to support each other. We all need to help
Mm-hmm.
each other out. It shouldn't be a case of like I can't deal with you. Like it's
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's really good. So because it's funny that you're saying that, because yesterday we had Bible study, and one of the ladies that was teaching, she was talking about who is your neighbor. And a lot of times people say I love, and oh my gosh, I love everybody. But in reality, do you really love everybody? Because who really is your neighbor? Just because someone is not like you, does that mean you shy away from them? Or do you take the time to really try to get to know who they are, why they are the way they are? And then do you have compassion for them? Because like you said, your somebody else's lived experience is not mine, but it doesn't necessarily mean I have to write them off as though, oh, they're just, something's going on with them, and I don't have time for this. I don't have the patience for it. I think that's where we're, especially in this today's society, we are so busy writing people off versus lending a hand, or just sitting there and being present.
yeah, it's like even when there's direct family members that are struggling with things, I think you almost absorb that bit of their pain when you're kind of trying to relate to them with empathy, and that feels like too heavy a lot of the time. And there's got to be more support for people. There's got to we're all struggling with our own things in our own way, and it's just and it's the whole one thing I've particularly found in recovery is that I like the saying. It's just a very short saying: if you can't take it anymore, give. Like, get out of yourself and help other people. You'll stop focusing on all your little things that feel like the end of the world, but there is still the world out there. And
Hmm.
it's important to remind yourself of that.
Hmm. Hmm. And I mean, how can a lot of times what happens is that people want to live in this bubble. And I think subconsciously they don't realize that that's what they're doing. Living in a bubble that they have created that they call normal.
It's familiar. It's the when I meet, when I've got friends that are like, "Oh, my life's horrible. This is happening, and it's really making me sad." I'll say, "Okay, let's deal with it. Let's do something about it." And then I'll meet them like a few weeks later or a few months later, and they'll just keep saying the same story over and over and over again. And that is comfortable and familiar, and they feel safe because the unknown is scary.
Hmm.
So staying in their pain and their sadness for some reason it's when you're that low, it is the only constant, the only thing that you can latch onto. It's so hard to kind of break away from.
Yeah, it's like but like you said, it's because it's familiar. So I look at people who stay in certain situations, um, and it's like, well, you stay in it and you go through the same thing over and over, but because that is what they're familiar. Anything else out of that particular thing becomes very abnormal to them, even though what they're in is abnormal, or it may, it is unseemingly abusive, or how can I put it? It might be a hard. I might say this. It might just be a horrible situation. We're just gonna say that. But for them, it is what they know. This is all they know. And they might talk about it. They might complain about it, but they don't want to get out of it. And so my job is not to make them feel bad. My job is to either I'm going to be a friend or I'm not. Either I'm gonna be a neighbor or I'm not. And that's a decision that we have to make, but we have to make sure that we're being conscious about making that decision. And when I say conscious, meaning that I don't want to cause you no harm either way. Does that make
Yes.
sense?
Yeah, and it's almost something that needs to be taught in schools, how to support each other and how to support yourself. Because again, we go to school, we learn how to do things, and then we go out into the real world, and the real world's nothing like we're taught, and it's absolutely terrifying. And people have these struggles that they'd never even envisioned and have no tools to deal with it.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just we've got to like be there for each other a bit more. I don't think it takes, but people think it'll take loads of energy and be really like time consuming. It's not. It doesn't. It's just send someone a text saying "You okay," it's just reach out a little bit.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it's
It,
just gonna make you feel better as well as them.
it will. And it's really a matter of the heart. It's a matter of the heart. It's heart issues, it's matters of the heart. And a lot of times it's the soul issues of a person that either makes them not do it or makes them do it. When you understand what it is to be marginalized and you understand what it is to be isolated, then it makes a lot of times that makes a person more compassionate towards other people. And so because I understand what it feels like to not have support, and I understand what it feels like to be isolated or to be labeled. And that's another thing that we do as humans is we want to label people, and that's so unfair, because a lot of times what happens is we mislabel them, and the label.
Yeah. Well, you put someone in a box, but no one, and no one, even if they are in that box at that time of their life, we change all the time. You can't say, "Up, this is exactly how someone is." No,
Hmm.
I had another point, but I forgot it. So,
I'm sorry.
well, what did you say before label?
Before label, I was saying that um, people who are more compassionate are those who understand what it's like to be.
It seems to be like I think you can't have good without bad. You can't have like pain without sadness, like pain without joy, or whatever the opposites are. But it's through the hardships and through the trauma that you can get to the real beautiful stuff. People are so scared of suffering, and like I get like mildly excited when there are challenges in life now, because I know that we're all going to grow through it, and I know that we'll be stronger, because that is how you get stronger, is by going through the pain, and or just learning from other people's stories, and just like you don't have to have all the horrendous life experience to still benefit from like how they've grown through it. You can like yeah pass it on.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I think that's really good. I was having a conversation with someone the other day actually about that. Everything that I've lived through, it might be for someone else's to listen to so that they don't go through what I went through.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I like that. I like whenever I see someone struggling with something, I'm like, well, I've still learned a little bit from that struggle.
Mhm.
Thank
Mhm.
God I don't have to go through the exact same pain.
Right,
Mm.
right, right. But let me gather something from their story. I think that is really good. So I want you to talk about a little bit about um, you now volunteer for Scope. So tell us a little bit about that, and then I want you to tell us about your blog. And then I see that you're writing a memoir, so I'm excited about all these things because I'm an author as well. So when someone tells me that they're right, I'm always excited.
Excellent. Yeah, I've volunteered for lots of different organisations over the years because it was the crash was the day after I finished university. I can't work full time or work properly, so I've had to fill it. I want to do things that are meaningful and then that like feel worthwhile. So I've been volunteering. At the moment, I'm volunteering for Scope. That's a disability charity that just supports disabled adults in the community. I'm also an editor for a newspaper that is read out loud for the blind and partially sighted, which
Wonderful.
which is really good fun to do. I don't know, it's just helping different struggles. I've been I bounce around. I and get different skills and meet different people, and it's all just like very just enjoyable. I started writing a blog when like a few years after I was hit by a car, to kind of communicate to the world like the struggles that I was going through, and it was just so hard to adjust to. I was like, I need people to know, like, or at least work through it myself. Like it was therapeutic to write because I knew that I need to kind of get some of this pain out of me because it's gonna boil up inside. And then people would message and say like they'd seen me get hit and they'd seen the horrific injuries that I had, and then they'd seen me slowly learn to get better and not rely on a wheelchair every single second, just like for long journeys, and just they've taken a lot of courage from what I've recovered from, and I just want to keep passing that on. That's why I started writing a memoir. I've got most of it down, or like I've got 100,000 words down. I keep adding to it because I feel like it's going to be more than one book. But yeah, and I just want to reach people and I want to help people. My blog is This Too Shall Pass 464. You can type Harriet Barnsley into Google and pretty much find out how to contact me and all my things. My Twitter is Harriet Barnsley. I'm growing that. I'm almost on 17,000 followers. I think it'd be really good. So that before the book, but also I'm now advocating for road safety and talking about how, because I don't know about where you are, but there's in the UK, there are 5 people killed on the road every day in a car crash and 60 people injured, and that just doesn't need to happen. It's all from people not paying attention while they're driving or drinking or taking drugs or texting. And it's just this burning need inside me now as I've recovered that I now have to start talking about it because something's got to be done to stop that. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
mm.
Well, that is really good. That's really good. So we can, well, I have the links in your bio, and on our page and things of that nature where they can come and find you. I'm excited about your journey and where you're getting ready to go. You sound like you are helping a lot of people, and I know today's conversation is going to help so many people. And when you're finished writing your book, I want you to come back so I can send everybody to that link as well. Um,
Yes, please.
yes, yes, yes. And so I'm excited about that. Again, I thank everybody for joining us on today's show. And please, please, please remember, love on somebody. Tell somebody that you love them. You never know what somebody is going through. You never know when a smile is hiding so much pain on the inside. You never know who is sitting at home lonely and desiring to have just someone to be a present um, in their life. And so take today's show and really think about where you're at. Think about your heart issues, the matters of your own heart, and your soul issues that perhaps may be keeping you from being that to somebody else that maybe perhaps one time in your life that you needed. Again, I'm your host, Lady B, and this is our guest, Miss Harriet. Did you have something you wanted to say?
One more, yeah. I read something recently that was saying about, because with all of our connection to people has gone online, and it's kind of been made quite stale. And it's like, instead of responding to someone's Instagram story with an emoji, send them a message, or contact them, send them a text, or better yet, ring them, or better yet, meet them. Let's just don't just assume that people are all okay in their world. Like, just check on each other and just check in and actually communicate properly. I don't, yeah.
Yeah, because there's nothing wrong with sending a text that says, "Hi, I'm just thinking about you. Want to let you know I love you."
Yeah, I think that's beautiful, and I love it when that happens. And like when it's, especially from friends that you haven't heard for ages, it's just so nice that they still think of you. And I just think we should just, yeah, spread the love, share the love.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that today, that's what everybody that's listening, I think that's what we all should do today, is take the time to love on somebody. And let's love on people that we don't know. It's easy to love on people that we know, right? That's easy. But let's see a stranger and really, really love on them. See if they just need a conversation, or if they just need a friendly hello, or I know we're in COVID, so people aren't really necessarily giving out
Or
hugs
just a
and things.
smile,
A
a big
smile.
smile. Yeah.
Yeah, a smile, and just acknowledge, sometimes just acknowledgement that they're there, because some
Mm.
people are really, you would be surprised how many people walk around and they feel as though they are annoyed, or
Invisible.
invisible. Yes,
Yeah.
invisible. Like they are invisible, and they're walking. They could be in a crowded room and still feel as though they are very, very invisible. So I think that today your story has really it's inspired me. It really has, and it caused me to sit and think and see where I have fallen short at in people's lives, where I know I could have been more of a present, more of, I always say, the hands and feet of Jesus. Am I being the hands and feet of Jesus, or am I kind of just walking around in my own little world, not thinking about anybody else?
And I think that's important, to look at where you may have slipped up or neglected someone or something. And
Mhm.
rather than criticize yourself and make yourself feel bad about it, just like be kind to yourself. You can't always be there for everyone, but you can like do you if you when you're in good states of your life, especially when you've had a bit of time, just like don't bully yourself for not doing it, and just then make the effort.
That's it. That's it. Make the effort. Okay, well, I thank you for coming. I enjoyed you. And I thank everybody again for joining us on today's episode. Don't forget to tune in next Monday at 10 a.m., and we will be bringing you more inspiration for your soul.